Hi, I thought I'd do a video today explaining what the process of buying property is when buying property overseas in Greece, from Australia in particular, for when you're buying your first property, when you don't know what the process is, when you don't know how long things are going to take. Before everything, and the key thing that you must have is a tax file number in Greece. Because if you don't have a tax file number, you can't pay taxes over there. You can't buy anything. Now, we're not saying that you can't go to Greece and travel as a tourist and buy stuff. Of course you can. But to own property, you need to have a tax file number. You don't have to be a resident to get a tax file number. You can get a tax file number just by simply applying through the Greek channel. So you can obviously do it at the Greek consulate wherever you live. For us, it's Melbourne. Generally those appointments can take anywhere from 2 months up to 6 months, depending on how busy they are. They generally look after the Greek citizens first, or Greeks first, as opposed to someone who's not Greek. But again, it's doable. It just takes its time, but you do need a tax file number, because you also need to open up a bank account. All the money needs to come in and out of that bank account that belongs to you. You can only open up a bank account there if you've got a tax file number. So that is your first step. So you got to find your property. So how do you do that? Well, I mean, if you know of properties, you can always walk around in Greece and they've got the old school methods of putting stuff up on the telephone poles, but obviously the internet, that's the way the world works right now. Your number one websites would be Spitogatos. There is another one called To Spiti Mu. They're generally your two main ones. Facebook Marketplace, believe it or not, I found properties on Facebook Marketplace that are actually quite valid. Real estate agents there are quite interesting in how they operate. A lot of them are set in the old ways, down the grapevine. Oh yeah, Jimmy's got a place, Anna Maria's looking for this, they're kind of looking for that much, think they're selling this one, blah, 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 blah. But then they also do branch out. A lot of the things you will also find that are not on the websites because either they can't be bothered or they just don't know how. And it's a very new age sort of thing, and they're a little bit delayed in those kind of practices. Again, we're not talking your multi-million euro investment properties that are obviously, appealing to Arabian sheikhs. They're online, they're everything, they're top notch. You're talking about your general day-to-day, properties anywhere from 30,000 euro and upwards, depending on where you're buying. There are the local ones that are going to make you the money, especially to begin with. You got to really hunt for those, but there are certain places you can find them, and generally those two websites are the ones. And here's the other fun thing that agents really love doing over there. Everyone is very scared of losing business, or someone coming in and swooping and stealing their business or whatever. So a lot of the times, the actual address to the property isn't the address to the property. It's an address to either the real estate agent or like some completely random ancient monument. Well, let's be honest, that's a little bit thing. This is definitely an ancient monument. If someone says I'm selling a property in Athens and the address goes to the Parthenon, then I've got a bridge to sell you down here, just down the road, man. It's called the Westgate, and it's perfect condition. I got an interested buyer right now. So be careful about that, because what you're seeing is literally not what you possibly could be getting. The photos are exactly the same, but a lot of the times you'll see on the photos as well, they'll blur out the street in the background if it's a shop front, for argument's sake, or if there's a street sign, if there's anything that gives it away, because they don't want people going down there and knocking on Uncle Jimmy's door and going, hey mate, how about I trade you 50 goats and a gallon of tsipuro, and don't worry about that, because then the agent starts losing commissions and they don't like that. Okay, so you found the property. Ideally, it's through a real estate agent, and generally that's what you're going to get. There are some private sales obviously in Greece, as there are everywhere in the world. What you're going to find, especially from overseas, is going to be through a real estate agent. So once you find the property that you like, you get in touch with the real estate agent, you let them know that your intent. You want to either look at it. If you can't because you're overseas, you can organize someone to have a look at it for you. You can do a virtual tour. Again, it's very difficult over there because they're very hit and miss with those sort of things. If you have a look at some of the photos that are online when looking at these properties, you'll understand why the use of the internet is not a very easy one over there for the agents. They can't be bothered. I mean, I'm talking about seeing property photos where they've taken a photo like this at the roof, or they've taken a photo in complete darkness at night time, at 8 o'clock at night in the middle of winter, with one light on to show the property. It's like they do not care over there. So ideally, you would like to organize a buyer's agent. Hi. Who has people over there who can do all these sort of things for you and make it a lot more accessible and a lot more easier for you. But yes, you do get in touch with the property agent, the real estate agent. You go, hey, this is my intent. I'm looking to buy this property. Can we get all the paperwork sent to us to our lawyer, please, and to our conveyancer, please. So ideally, all the paperwork has gone to your lawyer. You do have to have a conveyancer as well. We'll talk about that next. But a lawyer is obviously there to make sure that everything's legal, to make sure that everything is in order, that all the documents check out, that it's not owing money anywhere, that it's not held up with the government with taxes. A lot of people are selling properties due to inheritance tax, and they can't afford the inheritance tax, so they're selling the property. But what is happening a lot of the times, and it's happened to me, it took me 9 months to buy one of my properties, is because this gentleman had inherited this shop, didn't have the money to pay for the inheritance tax, so thought, I'll sell the property and then pay it once I sell it. But here's the catch-22. You can't sell it without paying it because it's not in your name. If you don't pay that tax, it doesn't fall into your name. If it's not in your name, you can't sell it. Thus begins this beautiful circus of Greece. So you do need a lawyer over there. You can get lawyers here, but again, they communicate with people there. They've obviously got their own ways here. They're just going to charge an arm and a leg. It's much better if you've got someone there who's got hands and feet on the ground over there, can run around, knows the people, knows how the government works, knows how all these industries work. There's a lot of, my mate's over in the office, his cousin's over there, his sister's there, the girl he's dating is doing this, they're going off for coffee over there, I'll just make sure it happens. And, next thing you know, it's somehow happened. There's a lot of that going on in Greece, which is quite interesting. But have yourself a good lawyer. Okay, so now by this point, you should have a conveyancer in place as well. And the conveyancer will take care of all the due diligence per se. The conveyancer will make sure that the place is rightfully theirs. It's not owing stuff. That also, on top of what the lawyer does as well, they just do a deeper check with the tax department. They also go to the land registry and make sure that the title is actually in that person's name, and that actually the measurements do match up with what's actually advertised. A lot of the time you'll get off measurements, which can really throw things up, because this is where you start to get added costs. They can fix these mistakes on the contracts, but it's not even the contract, it's actually the land registry title. They can fix these mistakes, but it costs money. Now, generally, the person selling the property, that's who the owner should fall on. But again, it's open to communication. You bargain, you do this, you pull money from the price, whatever it is, and sometimes they don't have money. It's a big circus. But what should happen ideally is, okay, you've got the land registry title will say this property is at 1 Greek Avenue in freaking Athens, whatever it is. It's a corner block. It's on the 3rd floor. It's a 2-bedroom apartment consisting of about 57 square meters, right? And the conveyancer will go out to the property, inspect the property, do their measurings and go, actually, this is coming out to 67 square meters. Or actually, no, this is 48 square meters. Because some of the times, someone's added an extra bedroom. Someone's added a balcony. Well, you can't really just add a balcony, but, a lot of people will do their own little things and upgrade their property to try and get more space out of it. Or they've knocked down a wall, they've opened up an area which then opens up onto the balcony, if they've taken more of the balcony that they need to or that they should have. So you're really going to make sure that all those things check out, and that obviously takes time, a lot of money. So now the final moment has arrived where everything checks out, all the legalities are done, all your due diligence, everyone's happy with everything, the contracts are finally drawn, and both parties will come together to sign the contracts. The money transfers immediately. Essentially, it's done in front of the conveyancer as proof of money's left from bank account A and into bank account B, or at least a transaction has been done. Here's the receipts. It's all done online these days as well. It doesn't have to, but generally that's a safer way when you're dealing with thousands and thousands of euro. And then that's it. You walk away, contracts in hand. On top of that, just to add as well, that when you're signing the documents on that day, it's not just you're paying the fee for everything. You're paying the amount that's needed to purchase the property. You're paying the conveyancer's fee. And out of that conveyancer's fee as well, they will generally add, I think it's about 3% of tax on top of any other additional charges that may have needed, that may have arisen, either to change something in a land registry title or whatever else it is. Maybe it's owing taxes, whatever it is. But generally, that can kind of jump at people, because you can generally go, okay, well, this is going to cost 50 grand. I'm going to need 2,000 to 3,000 euro on top of it to do the conveyancing stuff, etc. And then all of a sudden you're slapped with another 1,000 euro or 2,000, whatever it is, for taxes, where you didn't really think it'd be that much. Again, these are conversations you need to constantly keep having with your conveyancer, just so you're aware of your bills, because they can generally rack up bit by bit without you really understanding why and not even expecting it. And then you can walk away with a brand new property, keys in hand, do whatever you want with it, really. So, you finally got your keys in your hand. What do? Do you live in it? I mean, that'd be a dream come true. Go off and live in Greece. Very cheap over there. Or do you short-term lease it like an Airbnb situation? That's also something that I was looking at as well. Didn't really work out for me because I just didn't really enjoy it. You could also long-term lease it to locals, which is exactly where I've been making all my money. And if you want more information on that, stay tuned because I will be dropping a video on how that process works and how I've been finding out the best way to do that and navigate those waters, which was an interesting one. My first guy was a heroin junkie. Fun times. Comment, share, like, subscribe. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you have any more questions about everything, get in touch, please. Come to me. This is what I do. I help people buy property over in Greece and maintain and manage their property over in Greece. I have my own people that are doing it for me personally. So I'm offering up my services with my own accountants, my own conveyancers, my own agents, essentially that I work with, who help navigate my own portfolio over in Greece as well. So I hope this information has been helpful. Let me know your thoughts. Have a good one.